We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadour's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every time he's there, he just finds a way, and he's going to break through. Look at Cameron Young. Cameron Young was one of those guys, too. Remember Cameron Young? Second in the Open Championship, fourth, plays great in majors, almost won the Canadian Open again. I seen this guy play live. I'm like, how does this guy not have a win? And then last week, Kev, you saw what he did. He put his foot on your throat, wrestling style. He didn't just win, he murdered the competition last week.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He comes back, and what we're talking about, mid-August at that point, and then he gets a couple more starts and they're ready for the postseason. So right now, I would say probably not an issue long-term. You know, obviously change the lines of what we're going to see today. I haven't seen the lines reopen, at least on the FanDuel Sportsbook. They're locked right now. So not an issue right now. As long as he comes back and he still has that plant leg and he's still strong with that, probably no worries for the Brewers right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Time to rise and grind on the Early Line. New week, new money. It's just the way we get down here on the SportsGrid Network. I can't wait to see how this week plays out because we're one step closer to college football, 12 days away. The NFL kicking off on a Thursday night football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, with so many things happened over the weekend. So many things, Joe Ranieri, happened last night that we have to get to. So this is the Early Line. It's what we do Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside. The vibes, the energy, always much higher on a Monday because a lot of stuff to get to, Joe.
Yeah, there certainly is, Donnie, and may one wish come true for us and as many dogs that won and covered this week in the NFL preseason. Can that please carry over to the regular season, Donnie? That's my only wish.
Dogs, the public probably doesn't want that here. Public loves themselves, Joe Ranieri, some favorites here. We'll see if that continues, see how it goes on. 2 more weeks left in the preseason before the real bullets fly in the first week of September. The NFL season will be underway, but a lot of information to get to, which includes the hottest topics across the sports landscape, and that's our 7 and 7. And last night, you want to talk some football, making it to the starting line. Devastating news possibly for the Philadelphia Eagles. Landon Dickerson, all-pro left guard, goes down with a sustained knee injury yesterday, carted off the field. MRI today. Very hush-hush, but usually sooner than later we'll find that information out. We're sitting here at 8 a.m. on a Monday. I bet we might even get this information by the time we finish the show today, Joe.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, really unfortunate because you just don't go out and replace a 3-time Pro Bowl or offensive lineman like this. And the Eagles, though, to their credit, they did spend a little bit of money, went out and got some depth at that position in the offseason. So a 4-year, $84 million contract extension they gave him a year ago, Donnie, that tells you everything you need to know about how important he is to this football team.
Yeah, see some wide receivers or skill position guys, in the open field, Joe, make that cut, knee just buckles. Say, oh, man, that's a devastating injury. But typically with the offensive linemen, it's really not their fault. Leg whip, step on another player's foot, get pushed in the wrong direction, and there goes that knee/ACL or even an Achilles injury. But an MRI on deck for Landon Dickerson. Eagles fans like myself, yeah, fingers crossed right here that he's still going to be okay and be able to play this season. But certainly we'll find out sooner than later. Let's take a look here next up in the NFL yesterday. How about the Chargers? Boy, it looked good in preseason game in week 0, as we like to say, back when they were taking on the Detroit Lions in the first preseason game of the year at the Hall of Fame game. How about this 27-13 victory over the New Orleans Saints yesterday? Tyler Shuck, 15 of 22 for $165, a touchdown and 1 interception. And Trey Lance, 7 of 14 for 55 yards. Another victory for the Chargers as they improved to 2-0 in the preseason slate.
Yeah, how dare us question a Harbaugh in preseason here, especially since he came out and said we won't be playing any starters anytime soon in this game. And it really didn't matter because, let's face it, the entire New Orleans Saints team is filled with backups.
Yep, how about that yesterday, too? 24-24, a tie between the Dolphins and the Bears. You saw Tyson Bagent, 13 of 19 for a $103 and a touchdown pass here. Ties? What? Come on.
Yeah, and Quinn Ewers, by the way. Yeah, you're not in Texas anymore, are you there, big guy?
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Nothing. Exactly. Absolutely nothing when he was given the opportunity. I think he started 1 of 6 and then fumbled on the 1-yard line as well. So, yeah, wasn't a good showing for good old Quinn Ewers from the Miami Dolphins yesterday.
Yeah, taking a look at those first couple weeks in preseason, you like to get a little bit of a taste. We'll talk, certainly a little bit later on some quarterback competition, some rookies that we thought did really well, some rookies that might have struggled a bit, but it is what it is. Usually preseason game, I guess, number 2, the most important one. Preseason game number 3, more for the backups, and away you go into the regular season. Back to the baseball diamond, 7-6. All you have to do is just keep taking the Brewers, even if they're losing. It doesn't matter. Live bet them in a game. They continue to win, and they did so against the Mets yesterday. 7-6 final, which saw the Mets, I guess, win, but a pitch clock violation. Take that back. 2-run bomb. They lose. Away you go.
It just hilarious, Donnie. We covered this game on In-Game Live yesterday, Tom Vecchio and I, and the Mets we couldn't figure out the line movement all day in favor of the Mets. We're going, have you watched the Mets? Have you watched the Brewers? And then they got out to a 5-0 lead. And we're all going, wow, that's maybe they knew something we didn't. And the answer is no, they didn't, because the Mets are figuring out ways to lose games in epic fashion. And you know what? The Brewers are showing you they don't lose games when you give them 4 outs an inning, Donnie.
Nope. And how about those Los Angeles Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays? The battle of the 68-win teams. One team has 69. That's the Toronto Blue Jays here, salvaging a game out on that West Coast trip. A 5-4 victory, which also saw Shohei Ohtani go yard again and is listed at most outlets, Joe, a minus 20,000 favorite to win MVP in the National League now.
That's it? Wow. It's like betting Scotty Scheffler in the FedEx Cup here as they try to crown a champion. It's about as given as you're going to get here. But I thought that was a pretty gutsy performance yesterday for Toronto to avoid the sweep, and they had to do it in the late innings. And once again, that bullpen of the Dodgers, Donnie, we talk about it every week. Huh? Little head scratching sometimes.
I'll tell you what else is head-scratching. The bullpen, the starting lineup, the starting pitching for the New York Yankees. They get pummeled yesterday by the Houston Astros. The Astros come to town and take the rubber match and win that series 7-1 final. Alexander, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs. How about Max Fried? Struggling, man. This guy's turned into, I'll give you 5-6 innings, but I'm giving you 4 runs as well. Goodness gracious, 7-1 yesterday. Victory for the Stros.
And he's not missing bats on him, and that's the problem. He's now pitching to contact, and the Astros are not a good matchup for a pitcher like that. So he is going through it. But let's face it, if you're a Yankees lineup and you get no hit for the first 5 innings at home against somebody from Seinfeld, you got to be kidding me here. You can't. You no hit Jason Alexander, no hits you. Through 5 innings, really? Okay, good job, Yankees. Very good.
Yeah, Booney likes what he sees out there. Cashman's fine. The checks keep rolling in for the Steinbrenner family, and the way you go here with the New York Yankees, things aren't looking great as they dip again. Making the playoffs now, going to start coming to that Richter scale. It's like, ooh, what's the damage here for the Yankees for the rest of the season? We'll keep an eye on that. You know what else we're keeping an eye on? Female umpire Jen Paulwall gets the start behind the plate yesterday. Now, granted, first pitch was not a strike, called a strike, and away you go. But again, Major League Baseball umpires, probably the worst referee/umpires in all of sports here when it's easily correctable. But she made her debut yesterday behind the plate.
Listen, she's been umpiring since 2016. She's paid her dues in the minor leagues, which I can tell you, Donnie, is not an easy trip. If you think it's hard from a player's perspective to get to the show, good luck being an umpire getting to the show. They don't rotate those guys very often. So good for her. It's like riding a bike. She got back there. All weekend long, she was in that series, and she did a great job.
We'll see if we have the umpire reports that you typically come out today, but anything's better than Angel Hernandez. So at least that's a positive step in the right direction there, I believe, for Major League Baseball. For the PGA Tour, I guess they're having their fun right now, but to be honest, like, I like golf. I like to watch major championships. I couldn't give a damn about what they're doing right now at the FedEx. And I guess yesterday we had a victory in extra holes or a playoff for Justin Rose. He got paid $3.6 million. What a waste of space for this tournament, huh? Oof.
I got to tell you, Donnie, for those that follow golf, this was as good as it got yesterday with you-know-who lurking, Scotty Scheffler, and Tommy Fleetwood again not being able to get it done with a big lead, a 2-shot lead heading into the 16th, and then promptly throws up all over himself. There were a lot of narratives in that yesterday, and 3 of the best sudden death holes you'll see with Justin Rose and JJ Spawn. But kudos to the 45-year-old Justin Rose getting it done with the young guys.
Yeah, we talk about, like, in government, wasting spending here. The PGA Tour is wasting spending. Make me commissioner. I will combine Live Golf and the PGA Tour, and we have an unbelievable August, a couple of events here, by going toe-to-toe, which is the better league that the people will tune into, and we'll have a lot more fanfare than the FedEx yesterday that professional golfers are skipping to get to the next round here. That shows how much it means. It's a money grab, and us as a society, we don't like to watch athletes just playing for money out there. They're going to fatten their pockets. We want stakes on the line. There are no stakes on the line right now for the PGA Tour. Embarrassment in the month of August. Make me commissioner. I'll change the PGA Tour, and we'll have some fun doing that. But I can't change it in the meantime here. We can talk about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. Is he going to be their starting quarterback week number 1? Come on back. Early on.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get the latest update with the Micah Parsons holdout contract situation. Not a day goes by that Jerry Jones isn't afraid to talk about this. That's what we like about Jerry, okay? So here's the latest one. Apparently, Jerry Jones thought that he had a deal done with Micah Parsons. Not a pen, not a sheet of paper, not a DocuSign. A handshake and a look in the eye.
Newswire. Only on Sport.
I was that confused trying to figure out why Cameron Young isn't as good as he should be, because we've seen all the flashes. Like at some point of his career, he's been elite at something. Like he's been elite at putting this year. He's been an elite iron player. He's been an elite driver of the golf ball. So check out this chart I had to get.
We got a chart.
Look at this chart that I had to come up with.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
It was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The early line in full effect here on a Monday, and a lot of doings across the sports landscape over the past weekend here. Did you watch Major League Baseball? Did you have some fun with that? Absolutely. Did you watch some NFL action? You get some news and notes? Were you watching the PGA Tour? But if you weren't paying attention, the Cleveland Browns are trying to go over their quarterback room to see who can survive and be a starter in week number 1. We'll get to those odds in just a little bit, but preseason game number 1 for the Cleveland Browns, They dropped 30 points in that game, a 30-10 result over the Carolina Panthers, which the big hype of the day was Shedeur Sanders was going to get the start as a first-year quarterback and say, you know what? Let's see what you got there, Shedeur, in the backfield. Well, it was 14 of 23, $138, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He had some missed throws. He had some very good throws. I thought he showed very good athletic ability, Joe, here on a couple of scrambles, 19 yards on the ground. But again, accumulated the 2 touchdowns, did not turn the football over with any interceptions. I liked what I saw from Shedeur Sanders in game number 1, week number 1 of the preseason here, Joe.
Yeah, and I thought his ability to be able to roll out, use his legs, extend plays, do those kinds of things. I mean, dare I say, Joe Flacco wasn't playing. We knew that. Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel have the hamstring injuries. This was a great opportunity for Shedeur Sanders, who was listed as the 4th-string quarterback on the depth chart. I don't think he's that anymore. That looked like a real NFL offense with a real NFL quarterback. The first time in a long time we can say that about the Cleveland Browns. It was a great effort by him for sure.
I got to tell you about this, too, because, again, looking at who's going to start and who's going to play on that football team, it seemed to be a fact that it's going to be Joe Flacco. He's listed as a minus 156 price here to be the starting quarterback in week number 1, followed by Kenny Pickett at plus 150, then Shedeur 13-1, and Dylan Gabriel at 14-1. But sometimes you look at an organization, Joe, because, you know, the evolution of when I'm a kid, like, oh, just put the best player out there and see what happens. Sometimes don't you have to do what's best for the franchise, but you can never trust a coach or a general manager. The only guy you can trust is the ownership group that would be calling the shots. Because what's Kevin Stefanski want to say? Like, if I go through a year with Shedeur Sanders and he struggles and we end up with 5 wins, I'm going to get fired. If I start Joe Flacco and have 7 or 8 wins and still playing meaningful football in December, I'm probably going to survive. You have to take that, you know, question, or let's just say answer, out of the coach's hands here and say, what's the best health for the franchise? Because for me, if I'm a fan, you know what I actually want to have happen? I don't want Joe Flacco starting week number 1. I don't want Kenny Pickett starting week number 1. Joe, I'd almost be happy if we had Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel and they go, this is a year to find out about our quarterbacks. We're going to rotate every single game, Joe. First game, Shedeur. Second game, Gabriel. Third game, Shedeur. Fourth game, Gabriel. Just find out what you have at quarterback, because Joe Flacco is not your future. If Joe Flacco gives you 8 wins, that's a terrible season for the Browns, because then you can't even go into the draft and get your future quarterback if you don't figure you have him now on your roster. Give me your opinion on what you saw out of Shedeur, and if he continues with this, why not just start him or Dylan Gabriel in week number 1?
Well, it's hilarious, Donnie, because we talked about it on Friday. I think one of the questions you asked me was, of course, Stephen A. Smith coming out with they're setting him up for failure, Shedeur Sanders. And our answer was, well, isn't that what the preseason is for, is to figure out what it is that you have in the locker room and in the quarterback room? I mean, listen, Joe Flacco is not going to show you anything more than what we already know he is. It's not like he's been away from the game forever. We already know what he is. He understands the playbook. He is the safe option. The whole point of the preseason is to figure out what else you have. Do you have another quarterback of the future there? And unfortunately, we didn't get to see Pickett or Gabriel, but if those hamstring injuries heal up and they're available for the game 2 and game 3 of the preseason, I guarantee you're going to see Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel get a whole lot of snaps. You let these things play themselves out on the field, Donnie, right? The play on the field will tell you everything you need to know about whether or not you have a quarterback of the future. I don't need to roll you out there just to roll you out there in the regular season. We've been doing it long enough where we can tell if you're going up against the backups of the Dolphins or whoever it may be, if you can't complete a pass, if you're blindsided by blitzes, chances are it's not going to get any better against the number 1s in week 1 of the regular season. So I think they're doing exactly what they need to do. I would rather not see Flacco in the preseason.
The goal for the Cleveland Browns, this should be the goal for any NFL franchise, is to win a Super Bowl. I can say right now, on August 11th, 2025, on the early line, Joe Flacco will never, ever win a Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns. I can also say that Kenny Pickett will never win a Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns. So what are we doing with the Cleveland Browns? Your goal this year is to find a quarterback. You drafted 2 of them last year. I don't know if Shedeur Sanders can ever win a Super Bowl championship with the Browns. We've never seen him in a regular season game. Same thing with Dylan Gabriel. Now, granted, it is hard to win a Super Bowl, understandably, but I know for a fact those veterans on your roster aren't doing it. So if you find out this year that maybe Shedeur Sanders, a little glimmer in the eye there, you know what? Won 5 to 6 ball games, made some, impactful moves late in the season. Can't wait to get him for a full all season and see what we can do as a franchise guy. Same thing with Dylan Gabriel. But the best part about this is you probably have a pretty good quarterback draft next year. If you enter into the season, play the young kids, and they stink, you have your choice of any quarterback that can be a franchise guy in the draft next year. Or if either one of these two quarterbacks show that they have the chops to be an NFL quarterback, maybe you don't have to go into it next year, but hey, you have a top 5 draft pick because you were bad, but you figure you have your quarterback, you pick another impactful player, and away you go in your franchise. I never understand the Band-Aid approach. Kenny Pickett and or starting Joe Flacco makes absolutely zero sense for the Cleveland Browns. And by the way, if we can pop up that graphic quickly on the odds, perfect. Came right up. Joe Flacco minus 156, Kenny Pickett minus 150, Shedeur 13-1, and Dylan Gabriel 14-1. Just a little background on that. Coming into the weekend before the start for Shedeur Sanders, Flacco was a minus 180. That dropped. Kenny Pickett was a plus 280. And that certainly sits there at a plus 150 now. And now Shedeur Sanders 13-1. And Gabriel was the biggest loser in this because he didn't get any action in this game. I find that interesting to see how it plays out.
It's going to be interesting to play out, but it's going to play out over the next couple of games. I mean, like it or not, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. You've got a coach in Stefanski here who understands if he doesn't win games, he is likely not going to be the coach moving forward. So if he feels that saving his behind is that Joe Flacco gives him the best chance to win games, then he's going to play Joe Flacco. The hope is that Pickett or Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, one of these guys gives Stefanski something to think about come week 1 of the season. If I'm a Browns fan, that's what I'm hoping for.
Exactly. You want hope for the future. That's all you can ask for in a quarterback to get behind. And Joe Flacco's not the quarterback to get behind. More rookie reports coming up next on the Early Line right here on the SportsGrid Network.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get the latest update with the Micah Parsons holdout contract situation. Not a day goes by that Jerry Jones isn't afraid to talk about this. That's what we like about Jerry, okay? So here's the latest one. Apparently, Jerry Jones thought that he had a deal done with Micah Parsons. Not a pen, not a sheet of paper, not a DocuSign. A handshake and a look in the eye.
Newswire. Only on Sport.
I was that confused trying to figure out why Cameron Young isn't as good as he should be, because we've seen all the flashes. Like at some point of his career, he's been elite at something. Like he's been elite at putting this year. He's been an elite iron player. He's been an elite driver of the golf ball. So check out this chart I had to get.
We got a chart.
Look at this chart that I had to come up with.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pivetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth in the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The rookie report over the weekend here. A lot of eyes focused, particularly on the number 1 pick. And I should say this. Was there enough eyes focused on the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, playing his first preseason action? Usually when the number one pick comes in, he leads all telecasts. We want to get our glimpse on the shining bright toy that's going to come into the 2025 season. Shedeur Sanders, you would have thought, went number one overall with the excitement and also the tickets that were sold in Charlotte just to see the kid play. And by the way, Bryce Young, who is not a rookie anymore, did play decent on his one drive or two that they had for the Panthers, resulting in some points. But that wasn't even the focus. It was Shedeur Sanders. Coming into this weekend, Joe, do you agree? Like, Shedeur was the main focus out of the rookie class across the NFL?
Oh, well, of course, he was the focus of the draft, even in day, 3, when he was still on the board. I mean, it was all about Shedeur Sanders. So that was obviously going to roll over into the preseason to see if he makes the team. But, quietly, here's Cam Ward, the guy that actually, was the number one pick with Tennessee. And not a lot of people were talking about him. And quite honestly, Donnie, there wasn't a lot to talk about because it's not like they showed an awful lot with him. So, I mean, the numbers weren't over the top. They did a little more running. They did, he did, I think, go 11 plays, 65 yards, which was nice. Him and Calvin Ridley had a nice series together. But for the most part, it wasn't jumping off the screen. But like, why are we not paying attention to Cam Ward? It was kind of vanilla.
5 of 8, 67 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of an 89.1 here as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pounded the Titans 29-7. Get used to that probably as a final score. But he's got some weapons. He's got some wide receivers, got a couple running backs. We're expecting good things out of Cam Ward. Brandon Allen came in that game, 6 of 12. Tim Boyle still on NFL rosters, which is amazing here. Maybe Aaron Rodgers made a couple phone calls there. He was 4 of 13. But just interesting to watch Cam Ward, the number one overall pick, look fluid in the pocket. I do think he's going to have a pretty good season. Not indicated on how many wins the Titans are going to get, just how he looks in the pocket. That's all you should care about for the Titans. You take a look at Jackson Dart for the Giants here. How about this? 12 of 19 for a $154 and a touchdown. He made some really good throws against the Buffalo Bills. I liked what I saw out of Jackson Dart.
Donnie, this was by far the most impressive start of any of the rookies for any team this week. And I'll tell you why. It's because first you had Russell Wilson go out for like a series, and then we're like, all right, can we not watch him anymore? But the Buffalo Bills at home made the decision that their starters, both defensively and offensively, were going to play in the first half a lot. So these numbers you're seeing, 12 and 19, a $154 and a touchdown, 24 yards on the ground with his legs. That was all against the starters against the Buffalo Bills defense. So unlike a lot of these other guys that were going up against backups, those numbers and that performance came against the starters of Buffalo on the road. That was pretty darn impressive watching him under center.
By the way, did you see the quarterbacks for the New York Giants? Russell Wilson, 6 of 7. Jameis Winston, 7 for 11 and a touchdown. Tommy DeVito, 10 of 14 and a touchdown. And Jackson Dart, 12 of 19 and a touchdown here for the Giants. I have an over 3.5 team total at ESPN Bet, Joe, that I put in and grabbed that nice line. It's up to 5.5 now. I was really nervous. And again, it's one preseason game. I'm not going to overreact. Like, I hope Russell Wilson plays like all 17 games so I can at least get 4 wins. I was very, very happy seeing what I saw to Jackson Dart. If they do pull the plug on Russell Wilson after 5 or 6 games, maybe he can pick up 2 wins the rest of the NFL season and pick up that 3.5, which is what I need. Rest of the guys across there, Tyler Shuck, 15 of 22, Joe Buck, 65 and a touchdown, throws the 1 interception, comes back with a touchdown pass. Liked what I saw. I'm telling you, some of these rookie quarterbacks coming in well prepared here, Joe.
They were, but if we're being honest here, the honorable mention not on that list has to be the defensive end for the New York Giants, who was out there, I think, for 6 or 7 snaps. And you know what, Donnie? Carter was in the backfield and pressure in all 6 or 7 plays for the New York Giants defense in that game against the starting offensive lineman of the Buffalo Bills. So not only do they have maybe a possible future quarterback, they got an edge rusher that is going to wreak havoc on offenses this year.
And by the way, most people will look and say, like, oh, no, Ashton Jeanty, 3 carries, -1 yards. He probably fell like a rock in the, the offensive year category. Not the case. We know he's going to be just fine. But he sits at the plus 250 price to win that. Cam Ward, 3-1 here. Hampton, plus 850. And away you go. And by the way, you take a look at Travis Hunter. 2 catches, 9 yards, 8 defensive snaps. He's not going to get a ton of work in the preseason, but both ways he's going.
Yep. And listen, how they use him is going to be most importantly, but I think it's going to be all about the offense before it's about the defense with him.
Absolutely. We'll see how it plays out. I'm telling you, he might have some big things on the horizon there on offense for him down there in Jacksonville. We'll find out how Liam Cohen uses them and more. NFL highlights from this weekend and maybe some devastated injuries next.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get the latest update with the Micah Parsons holdout contract situation. Not a day goes by that Jerry Jones isn't afraid to talk about this. That's what we like about Jerry, okay? So here's the latest one. Apparently, Jerry Jones thought that he had a deal done with Micah Parsons. Not a pen, not a sheet of paper, not a DocuSign. A handshake and a look in the eye.
Newswire. Only on Sport.
I was that confused trying to figure out why Cameron Young isn't as good as he should be, because we've seen all the flashes. Like at some point of his career, he's been elite at something. Like he's been elite at putting this year. He's been an elite iron player. He's been an elite driver of the golf ball. So check out this chart I had to get.
We got a chart.
Look at this chart that I had to come up with.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Was already pretty solid up top, but you had the bottom that's that much better with Ryan O'Hearn and Lariano. Like, we now have a well-rounded lineup on top of a great pitching staff. Michael King is expected to start making his rehab starts. So you have him plus Pavetta plus Dylan Cease. You Darvish is back. You have the frontline pitching, the depth of the lineup, and now a great bullpen. You have it all.
I really like it. Like I do. Like sometimes I get caught up in the Padres because of what they can be.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
We're talking a little bit of that rookie report in the previous segment here. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside on the early line right here on the Sports Grid Network on a Monday, getting you ready for this week and saying, you know what, how can we get ready for this week without taking a look at the rookies over the past weekend? We know we didn't get to see a lot of last year. Rookie J.J. McCarthy, you still sort of consider him a rookie, right? Got a couple snaps in the preseason, goes down with the knee injury, rehabs it here. How will that start? Because Sam Darnold's no longer the starting quarterback in Minnesota. He was shipped off there to Seattle on a nice free agent contract. He's their starting quarterback, and now J.J. McCarthy can focus on being the starter in for the Vikings here. I thought he looked good. I liked him rolling out of the pocket. He looked athletic. The arm strength was there. Was it an electric start? 4 of 7 for 30 yards in his debut? No, it wasn't. But it's nice to see him out there being healthy and that good arm strength here. We don't know how it's going to project to the regular season. But again, a lot of these rookies were put in good spots here in their first starts in the preseason.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't bad by any means, right? His first showing. But at the same time, he was out there one series. I mean, 13 plays in that series, in fact, that ended up with a 48-yard field goal. But the longest completion was what, an 18-yarder to Jordan Addison that Addison had to actually dive for the ball and make the catch. I mean, again, wasn't bad, but I would like to see a little bit more from McCarthy before we anoint him the future of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see. And again, I want to knock the kid, too, because I know a lot of people are really high on him. Seeing it in college football, there is something to be said about being a great leader, which everybody from that Michigan program will tell you about. But there's also something about being an absolute gunslinger when your team needs it the most. We didn't get a ton of that at Michigan. Some of their biggest wins came on, let's play really hard defense and run the football. We'll see if J.J. McCarthy excels this year, technically, as a rookie for me in the NFL. We did have some other NFL weekend highlights here. How about Cam Little? a 70-yard field goal. It's just so, like the evolution of the athlete, Joe, right? It's like, hey, well, look at the NBA in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, well, the athletes that are so far superior. Same thing in the NFL. Track stars, people are running faster and faster every single year. The legs of the kickers might have to get analyzed. Don't you remember, Joe? And I'm talking about early 2000s. Whew, man, he's going for a 51-yarder right here. A 51-yarder is a chip shot now. Like, if you can't consistently nail 60-plus yarders in the NFL, it's like you can't even be out there. And now we have 70-yard field goals going through in the preseason. How about that?
And Donnie, call me crazy. It looked like it could have gone a few more yards, too, there. It wasn't as if they were all laying up. Like, they were actually going after the kicker on that 70-yarder, and he got all of it. It didn't look like he was straining to do it either, which was funny, but we saw 57-yarders with plenty of leg and distance this week. So the kicking... And again, that's all fine and dandy in preseason, but let's see what happens under the, the big lights here and elements. But for the most part, you got to be impressed with the kicking game so far in week 1 of the preseason.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was back in like 06, maybe, like a Matt Bryant kicking like a 58-yard or whatever, a 60-yard against the Philadelphia. I almost fell out of my chair with that victory. And now it's like, oh no, 62 yarders. He has a legitimate chance to make that now. It's unbelievable where
and it wasn't
like
in
a Tony
Denver.
Franklin, yeah, like, hey, exactly. Like a steel toe guy is kicking 60 yarders out here. Like, oh, he got lucky and wherever it was. But my goodness, man, the evolution of the kickers is insane. How about last night? The Philadelphia Eagles hosted a practice at Lincoln Financial Field, which was sold out last night. Hey, the Super Bowl champions, let's go watch them work out. Could be a devastating injury on the horizon that will probably get known today, Joe. Landon Dickerson carted off the practice field with a leg injury. Looks like it's a knee injury, and the MRIs are due this morning, and we'll probably get it back sooner than later. But this is one that the Philadelphia Eagles cannot afford to lose. Really, any NFL team losing really good offensive linemen in the preseason. You hate to say it, but it's already happened with Slater. Could it be happening with Dickerson now, the Eagles?
Yeah, and folks may not remember, too. This was a guy that played through a knee injury at the end of last season through the postseason. Yes. So he had an injury last year, played through it, was hoping the offseason it would heal itself and he'd be back in there. And another one of these just kind of freak situations, and at the end of practice, no less. I think they were almost ready to wrap it up, and unfortunately, here we go. Much like we saw Slater of the Chargers have a similar situation where it's like, you got to be kidding me. We're not even trying. This is a self-practice, and we're losing Pro Bowl guys on the offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You never want to see it because, again, injuries just don't stop. Oh, we already lost our offensive lineman for the year. Nobody else can get injured. That doesn't happen. That's not good for one of the power strengths of the Philadelphia Eagles is that offensive line, particularly the left side, which has Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata. It might be the best left side combination in the NFL. Maybe that's damaged goods already to start. How about James Cook? He's like, I'm not damaged goods. I get some workouts in, but I'm not playing yet. I want my money. And also, good to hear Josh Allen speaking up like, we need this guy back. So pay him what you owe him, as we like to say, Joe.
I love that he warmed up. He did, he was with his team. He did all of the things that you would expect a starting running back to do. Only he's like, I'm not playing. I can't run the risk. And at this point, he can't. But you know what? He's not being a distraction. He's going through everything with him. And now when your franchise quarterback says, can we get this, please, finished and wrapped up and get going? I think that's a big step in the right direction for Cook.
Exactly. And you don't really need running backs to carry the ball 15 times in the preseason. But you know what you do need? The same way where most teams now are starting to play starters more in the preseason. It's not about, hey, I need to get this big workout. It's about going through that game day preparation, having that mindset and the mentality that's sharp, going out and running around for 5 to 10 plays out here, getting a carry or two, getting a hit up the middle from a middle linebacker, like, okay, let's get my season underway. You're not going to get that out of the James Cook. You know as well as I do, Joe, that you need contact as a running back. Like, you can't show up in week number 1, like, okay, I'm going to end my holdout. Give me 20 touches in this game opening day in the 90-degree heat, which we get a lot of times in September. Get him in camp, get him practicing, get the vibes going, and good for Josh Allen sticking up for his guy in the backfield. We got a story that might be developing in Los Angeles here with their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Over the offseason, Joe, I don't know if we had more love than any single team in the NFL, particularly in the NFC, to be honest, than the Los Angeles Rams. Got close last year, beat by the Philadelphia Eagles in the snow. Stafford coming back. He added to the wide receiving core, an exciting, young, talented front seven. The roster is chock full of talent, a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl, a head coach that has won a Super Bowl. And now the quarterback's hitting like epidurals and like, Joe, that is never a good sign to start the season where you need needles just to keep going.
Yeah, and listen, but it's also not his first rodeo. He's had some back issues, neck issue. Like, he's had a lot going on, Matt Stafford, from all those years. He took an absolute beating in Detroit because they couldn't protect him. But the good news is, from what I am seeing, there's not a ton of concern that he won't be ready for the start of the season. What you have to worry about with him is longevity. Donnie, how many hits is he going to be able to take during the regular season before this becomes an issue? But I think they're going to treat him with kid gloves, which is what they should for a 37-year-old quarterback anyway.
What would you tell the people right now, though? Like, okay, I like the Rams heading into the season, but I'm not sure about Matthew Stafford because people want to get their bets in. People want their team totals. People want to bet week number 1 here. So what's your prognosis on the Rams? We'll talk long-term in a second. Week number 1. Are we just going to say, like, yeah, he's ready. Bullets are flying. He looks great out there because he is a tough dude. But again, a back injury for a quarterback trying to get all that torque on passes, usually not good.
He'll be fine. He's got one of the best coaches in the NFL. As long as you can keep him upright, I think you're good to go. Much like any starting quarterback, right, Donnie? If he stays healthy, I love the Rams' opportunity and chances out of the NFC West. If he's not, much like any other starting quarterback, yeah, those chances diminish quite a thing. Oh, no, what was it? Who's his backup? Stidham? Is that who it is?
Nope. Come on. Who else?
Oh, Joey. That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
Jimmy
Joey G.
Yeah.
Look, you're screwed,
we've
Rams.
seen Jimmy do
You're
damage.
screwed.
Come on now. I remember.
Sorry.
By the way, Jimmy Garoppolo could be a hero if he just connects. Was it Emmanuel Sanders? Who did he miss wide open down the middle of the field late in that game?
Yes,
My
Emmanuel
goodness,
Sanders.
man. He could be a hero right now. He could be a hero. So what you tell me you can't bet on Jimmy Garoppolo from your end, Joe? Come on now. That's not nice.
No. It's over if Garoppolo's your starting quarterback, Rams. So you better hope that back issue remains a non-factor for good old Matt Stafford.
Rico Suave back there. Jimmy G, we'll find out. You know what else it might be over for right now? New York Metropolitans. What's up with the Mets? What's up with the Bruins? Next, right here on the early line.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Joey Ohtani's only seen him 7 times, 7 at-bats. He's got a home run against him. I've been pretty good at jumping in and out with Ohtani. I don't take him to hit a home run every day. The odds are good enough tonight, Scott, at plus 230 to entice me. I've got a bet on Ohtani's season home run prop at 43.5, which, he's nearly there.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Jalen Lane, 4th-round receiver from Virginia Tech, who's a dynamic slot receiver. Run after the catch. He's had a phenomenal camp. Really great offseason. He is really gifted. And obviously with McLaurin not practicing, he's getting a lot more of a look. Right. Now, the problem is, without McLaurin, they're not very deep at the outside receiver position. But Jalen Lane is a stud talent. I'm telling you, this kid should have gone higher.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball over the weekend. A lot can happen, Joe. Friday, Saturday, into Sunday when we recap and get back in line here on the early line. A lot of things did happen. And one thing that did happen, the New York Mets lost games. Another thing that did happen, the Brewers won a lot of games here. Let's focus on that series because this was a divider. You're talking about the Brewers saying, most people are doubting us here, but they still keep extending that lead over the Chicago Cubs. And also the New York Mets, who I've told you many times, I just think they're going to be a bounce back and forth between the Phillies and the Mets for the rest of the season. Like, I don't know, just 2-3 weeks ago, it was the Mets in full control of the NL East. Now it's the Philadelphia Phillies. But boy, oh boy, the panic meter, right, on, let's just say the Brewers being really good and the panic meter on the New York Mets being really bad, exacerbated this weekend because the Mets just can't, they lose every single way you possibly can. And the Brewers just understanding how to win. 73 wins on the season now, Joe, for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, again, it's there's peaks and valleys in a Major League Baseball season with 162 games. We have 7 weeks left in the Major League Baseball season. We've got a ton of Phillies Mets games, I think, coming up this month, a series that is going to be really important. They're going to have an opportunity to play some teams that they can turn this thing around. It's not 3 weeks left. It's 7 weeks left. So now might be the time for some of these teams that we're about to throw daggers at here, Donnie. Maybe it's time we start looking at them going, is now the right time to buy low? I don't think the Mets are going to continue down this path. I don't think the Yankees are going to continue down this path. It will turn around. It usually always does, Donnie. We seem to forget that year to year.
Yeah, no, again, playing the Brewers is no easy task. They're the best record in baseball. They're for the best team in Major League Baseball. Do you want to get swept on the road? No. Do you want to steal one of those games? Absolutely. But they did lose yesterday in heartbreaking fashion. Another huge series over the weekend was the Phillies and the Rangers. Superstar pitchers left and right. And look at the Phillies pitching staff in this one. Give up 1 run, 2 runs, and 2 runs and come away with a sweep with some clutch hitting. 9-1 on Friday night. DeGrom game 3-2 the very next night, and then 4-2 yesterday. The Phillies just have a plethora of starting pitching and now an elite bullpen, it seems like, to start to close the door on teams. The Rangers, I do like this team. That's a tough series, but the Philadelphia Phillies, with the Mets losing and the Phillies continuing to win, separating that gap in the NL East. You have to like what you see right now from the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, and listen, you know this as a Phillies fan, Donnie. There is absolutely zero surprising with the Phillies ramping it up in the second half of the Major League Baseball season after the All-Star game. This is what this team has been doing for quite a while now. And now that they made some moves and solidified that bullpen, at least from what we're seeing, yes, the Phillies are going to be a team to beat. And the Mets know it, but the good news is the Mets still have time and a series coming up against them in order to be able to cut into that lead.
And by the way, starting to cut into the lead here. It's certainly not the New York Yankees in the AL East. They dropped the series to the Houston Astros. Embarrassing yesterday. Do you have your, I guess, de facto ace based on how much you're paying the guy and the expectations coming from a free agent? That's Max Fried, who was wonderful, Joe, to start the season. But now every game he's given up 3-4 earned runs here. Certainly not being that shutdown guy. Jason Alexander comes in as just a journeyman average pitcher. It feels like 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs in the Bronx on a big swing day here. The New York Yankees mustered 3 hits yesterday and just limped to the finish line. And also, talk about the game Saturday. Like, they're lucky they got a big-time base hit late in that game to win that one. Otherwise, it probably would have been a sweep to the Houston Astros. Things aren't right in New York. And yesterday, 7-1, certainly wasn't right for them either.
No, they are not. They're just not playing good baseball. It's just not. I mean, they are 44-43 since May 1st, Donnie. I mean, that's how mediocre they have been since we started the month of May, which means they were very good in April, but my goodness, it is just the wheels have fallen off. I'll tell you the good thing yesterday is that, and you and I talked about it last week, we were laughing. Yeah, they brought Devin Williams into a 4-0 game in the 6th inning with absolutely no leverage, no nothing going. They brought him in the 6th inning. Donnie, what does he do? He goes 1, 2, 3, strikes out the first 2 hitters, and you're going, where has that been? Devin Williams, to me, is an X factor for the Yankees. If they can get his head screwed on right over the next couple of weeks, having him and an ability to be able to make it a 5-6 inning game and having that back end of the bullpen, because Bednar looks like your closer now. But if you have Devin Williams also in the mix here, The Yankees have all the potential in the world. They just have to start playing better baseball.
And sometimes you just, and there is something to pitching in the big city, right? Look, Milwaukee is much smaller. It's not a fishbowl where it's like, everybody's watching me here. Devin Williams, for 98% of his career, was untouchable. So when Devin Williams goes to the Yankees, that is an unbelievable upgrade to your bullpen. And it's been nothing short of a disaster. And it's amazing. But that's in that long line of, hey, look at that. We got a young, good, really good pitcher in Sonny Gray. He couldn't pitch to save his life in New York and now thriving in other cities. So there is something to that bigness of it. If we take a look at another series this weekend that took place, how about this? The Dodgers won a series against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are really good, looking to hang on in the AL East. The Dodgers pick up that victory yesterday, as we lost yesterday, but also Shohei Ohtani hits a home run. But the Dodgers take 2 out of 3. Needed that one. Stay ahead of those Padres.
Yeah, no, that's good. The Padres also, continuing to inch a little bit closer. And the Dodgers and the Padres, Donnie, over these next 7 weeks, they don't play just one series. They have 2 series against each other over the next 7 weeks. So a lot still to be determined. But anybody who thought the Dodgers would have run away with it by this point, yeah, that is not what we're looking at.
Yeah, a couple of it seems like the big losers were in New York City. Like you look at the World Series odds right now, always going to be the Dodgers, no matter what happens, unless the Padres somehow grab a 5-game lead on them in September. The Phillies certainly surging up the board because the Mets are falling off. If you look at the Mets and the Yankees were once in the top 5. They're now 14-1. The Mets were right behind the Phillies. Now they're 17-1 here, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. According to Fangraphs projections, the Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to focus a little bit on the National League coming up next with the division leaders and also the wild cards, because the key indicator now is we seem to be shifting our focus, like the Brewers extending their lead, the Phillies extending the lead, the Dodgers are close. But where do the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds fall into the picture now? We'll talk about that next, right here on the Early Line.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shadur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Joey Ohtani's only seen him 7 times, 7 at-bats. He's got a home run against him. I've been pretty good at jumping in and out with Ohtani. I don't take him to hit a home run every day. The odds are good enough tonight, Scott, at plus 230 to entice me. I've got a bet on Ohtani's season home run prop at 43.5, which, he's nearly there.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Jalen Lane, 4th-round receiver from Virginia Tech, who's a dynamic slot receiver. Run after the catch. He's had a phenomenal camp. Really great offseason. He is really gifted. And obviously with McLaurin not practicing, he's getting a lot more of a look.
Right. Now,
the problem is, without McLaurin, they're not very deep at the outside receiver position. But Jalen Lane is a stud talent. I'm telling you, this kid should have gone higher.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The NL playoff picture here coming into focus. Why? Well, we're heading into the middle of the month of August. Only a month and a half left to go in a Major League Baseball season that seems like a marathon, which is now seemingly, Joe, turning into a sprint. And why? The Philadelphia Phillies have opened up a 5.5 game lead over the New York Mets in the NL East. The Milwaukee Brewers have opened up a 6-game lead over the Chicago Cubs. And now you see the Los Angeles Dodgers losing yesterday, the Padres winning 2 games in a row. The Padres now within 2 games of the Los Angeles Dodgers. If we're looking at the division leaders right now, the Dodgers, we still think are going to win it, but it's only 2 games. Can you call the series already, or should I say the season already, for the Phillies and the Brewers, as they are going to win those divisions because of the leads they have in mid-August?
Well, no, we might get a little more clarity, but again, keeping in mind the Dodgers and the Padres have 2 series coming up here over the next 7 weeks. So to me, Donnie, that could determine whether or not we stick a fork in one of these teams, and your division winner is going to be, I think, whoever ends up showing up and showing out in dominating those 2 upcoming series between them. That's where it's going to be decided. The same thing, by the way, the Cubs and the Brewers are also have a big series coming up. So a lot to be determined in this final 7 weeks. But I'm telling you, that division between the Dodgers and the Padres, far from over yet if you're just handing it to the Dodgers.
Going to be a lot of fun to watch, too, and rightfully so. Like, we were thinking that maybe 4 teams would be battling once we got to the mid-month of August into September. But, of course, you know, the San Francisco Giants, has a little bit to be desired there. There's a lot to be desired of the Arizona Diamondbacks at this point. But we thought both of those teams probably factoring into at least a wild card race, which we'll get to right now. If the season ended today, Joe, in the National League, the Chicago Cubs, 67 wins and 50 losses. They hold a 4.5 game lead in the wild card standings. The Padres, if the season ended today, Joe, would be in the playoffs, 66 and 52, a 3-game lead in the wild card race. Then followed up by the New York Mets. Here's the issue now. We probably thought, like, we knew who the 6 teams would be in Major League Baseball's National League to make the playoffs. But now the Reds only sit a 1.5 games back of the New York Mets. The St. Louis Cardinals, 3.5 games back of the Mets, and 4 games back is the San Francisco Giants. Once thought to be like ironclad, these teams are getting in, and we still have 6 weeks left to go in the season. But the New York Mets, man, the pressure is really going to start to ramp up soon.
Yeah, it is. But the good news is they've got, well, the Reds chasing them. And anybody who watched that series this past weekend against Pittsburgh, I mean, every time they tried to pull away, the bullpen managed to figure out a way to get the worst hitting team in baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates, an opportunity to get right back into it. So, listen, we all thought the Reds would be maybe a team that could surprise everyone. It's not like they don't have a shortage of talent, but when you score 2 runs or less in 40 games so far this season, in one of the most ridiculous hitter-friendly ballparks in all of Major League Baseball, we have a problem. Mix in a bad bullpen, and again, I think they have breathing room, the Mets, when it comes to them versus the Reds, but they got to play better baseball. That's the bottom line. It's not a lack of talent. They just got to start playing smarter baseball.
Yeah, for me, like just lining up that division and saying, all right, well, the Reds, they'll probably get left out at this point. Maybe not enough excitement there from the bats. And as you pointed out, you're playing one of the best hitters ballpark in Major League Baseball. Hitting should not be the issue. And always in the past, hitting wasn't the issue for the Reds. It was getting enough starters in there to sort of hold down the fort. But now if we do take a look at the National League winner, which would be the pennant, the Dodgers still have a comforting lead here in the odds market of plus 150. The Phillies, though, closing that down at a plus 350 price. The Brewers 5-1, the Padres 8-1, the Cubs plus 850. And then there sits the New York Mets at a plus 950. And the thing that's fun about that is we just talked about the Mets are a 1.5 games up in the wild card race from the Cincinnati Reds. But the Cincinnati Reds are 16-1, Joe, 60-1 to win the pennant here. But I do find myself looking at the New York Mets saying, there's too much talent on that team, and we know how things work out, even with the Philadelphia Phillies in the playoffs last year. Hey, we're a good baseball team. Mets get hot at the end of the year. Mets knock the Phillies out of the playoffs. We've seen that happen before. Instead of taking the favorites like the Dodgers at a plus 150 price, the Mets will rebound. The Mets will play lower competition. The Mets will win 4 to 5 games in a row and close it. Are they worth a plus 950 price for you right now, Joe?
Yeah, well, and you're right, Donnie, because looking at what they have the rest of this month, they got the Braves twice, the Nationals, the Marlins. Outside of the Mariners and the Phillies, every other series there is very winnable. A lot of winnable games on this schedule the rest of the month for the Mets today.
No doubt about that. And also, like, it will be fun to watch. In Major League Baseball, the cream usually rises to the top in the summer months because it's 6 months here that you have to go into Major League Baseball season. But all you got to do is sprint to that finish line, be the hot team. You can make your way to a World Series. The Diamondbacks did it. Why can't the New York Mets? More talk, top of the hour next. Major League Baseball's American League.